This program has been made possible in part by the following sponsors. The Trial Lawyers Association of BC. The Vancouver Courier newspaper. My new book about addictions, All the Way Home, Building Recovery That Works. He is described by health authorities and doctors and those in the know as a super senior. She says it's all in her head, not to mention her feet and her arms and her legs. And when she came over from the North Shore this afternoon to tape this show, of course, swimming over here, she had to avoid the tankers and and the sea bus, and we had to buy a special hairdryer for her. Betty Jean McHugh, at 85, has broken pretty much every record for marathons and half marathons, and nobody can quite understand how she does it. Betty, you're amazing. BJ, everybody calls you BJ.
BJ.
You're BJ. And you didn't really start doing this till you were 50.
I was 55, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what?
Well, I was chasing children before that. I had 4, so I was getting my aerobics in.
Yeah. What was the kicker? What got you going suddenly?
Well, it was the start of the aerobic classes, the fitness classes, and you had to run a block. I think it was roughly a block.
Yes. Yeah.
And then my 2 daughters joined it with me, and we decided just to carry on a little farther. So every night we'd have our little run, 2 blocks, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just felt good, and I decided to keep on running. So, I was just running at first. I wasn't racing, and then someone talked me into doing a 10K. And it was Stanley Park. It was a ladies' run only, and it was Bonnie Bell was the sponsor of that one. And I happened to win, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what I was doing, because I'd never raced. Nobody told me, about pacing yourself. But anyhow, and then from there on, it just carried. And of course, the ultimate then, the triathlons, weren't. I don't know if they even had triathlons.
Have you done triathlons?
I haven't. No, my swimming is swimming across over here. No, I would love to have done one because I do ride a bike all the time.
You still do?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I do all my shopping on my bike. I loaned my car to my grandson for the summer because he is going to university and he needed transportation.
Don't tell me that you ride your bike up Lonsdale because I'm going to start screaming.
Yesterday I did, and I had 2 panniers on with all my groceries.
I can't, I have to admit, I'm 70 and I can't do a lot of uphill.
Well, you could.
At this point.
Where do you live?
14th and Granville.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you live in the mountains, that's, you prefer. When I'm running, I'm not good on the flat. I like the undulating.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you do your first marathon and where?
It was Vancouver Marathon, and I did that when I was 50. Was I 57? See, here I go. I have a lot of senior moments. You have to read the book to find this out. But it was, I was in my late 50s.
The book to which you refer is called My Road to Rome, The Running Times of B.J. McHugh, which you wrote along with Bob Nixon.
Bob Nixon, yeah.
And I opened it randomly, and wouldn't you know, I opened it on something I could identify with. As the weather improved in the spring of *51, Bob and I, that's your late husband, took to the tennis courts in Stanley Park. I don't know how many billions of tennis balls I have hit at Stanley Park. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and you loved it. You had a lot of good years there.
Oh, I love tennis.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. But you packed it in a few years ago. You find it's a totally different activity.
That's right. It's not conducive to running. I think it's the ankle thing, more.
Yeah.
And there wasn't actually time for both.
Yes.
If you're training for a marathon, you've got to do your mileage or you're going to hurt. You're going to hurt anyway, but you might not even finish if you don't do your homework.
Let's go to Rome. I want to go back eventually to your beginnings, but what meet was this? What was this about? It was only a few years ago.
It was a few years ago, and I was on television, and Bob Nixon had seen, oh, I know what it was. It started off in Hawaii, because I'd set a world record there, and he saw this. And
that's where you set a world for the marathon, the full marathon.
The full marathon.
And what was the time? 4 hours something?
4:08, I think it was, yeah.
Holy smokes.
And so that was when Bob Nixon thought we should do a book.
Yes.
And I go, you're out of your mind. You know, I have a pretty boring life. What's to say in a book?
Well, it turns out you don't.
Well, I guess, you know, when people saw it and heard about it, that's when Bob Nixon then phoned me and said, you know, we'll do this book. And then somehow word got to Rome. Well, I guess if you're director of racing, you know, they have all the... And he sent me an email asking me if I would run, all expenses paid, Rome, just to motivate the Italian women and get them off their stilettos and get a pair of joggers.
Right. Yeah, get them off their Vespas.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I thought he was just joking, and so I didn't answer him.
Oh.
And then I get another email, and he, you know, in his broken Italian, why you no answer? And I said, well, I have a friend who's always fooling me. He phones and changes his accent and whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just thought he was pulling a prank on me.
Yeah.
So I explained all this to him, and he said, no, this is for real, and it was going to be in April. And I'd already run Victoria Marathon, which is Thanksgiving weekend, and then Honolulu, which in December. I never
Is that the one where you set the record? In Honolulu?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then, you know, then in April, it's going to be in Rome.
Yeah.
And I have a year between marathons, but my age, I just think that's what I should do. But it worked anyway. I didn't fall apart.
Yeah. And where was it in Rome, right? It was on the streets or inside?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it was all on the streets and the cobblestones and all the historic, you know, the Colosseum.
Right to the center of town. Right. Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
It wasn't an easy route for that reason, actually, because the streets, you know, there are a lot of cobblestones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'd never been to Rome before, and of course there was much to see, and I'm trying to run and not get run over and see everything.
How long in advance of the race did you arrive? You got there a few days early or a week early? Or?
Not that long. I think 3 days. Yeah, I was pretty hungover.
I was going to say, the trip is a bit grueling. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. And so how do you prepare, for example, if you know, what time does a marathon typically start?
Well, most of them start 7, maybe between 6 and 7, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Most of them are early.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you eat? Do you have a banana? I mean, what do you do?
Well, that was weird, because the night before I usually have pasta and my glass of wine. I always, people just, you what?
What color?
Red.
Yes. Yeah.
I just treat it like any other dinner, except I do like to have my pasta. Yeah. And then in the morning...
So really the running is just an excuse to drink. I have to have you on one of my alcoholism shows, right?
Yeah, I'm addicted. No, I just don't like to change my lifestyle it doesn't make any difference, I'm sure. What's one glass of wine going to do? Right. And then in the morning, I usually get up early, and when I'm here, I usually have a bagel and a banana and a bit of honey on my bagel, maybe.
I was going to say, what's on the bagel? Just a bit of honey?
Honey and sometimes peanut butter.
Toasted?
However, toasted. Right.
Poppy seed?
No, I try to keep it plain.
Oh,
I don't like to have any irritants. You've heard about the runner's syndrome.
You realize that if you have a poppy seed, you could test positive?
Oh, no.
Yes, it's true.
Wow, that's lucky I didn't have a poppy seed. Okay. They haven't tested me yet. Anyway.
Okay, yeah.
However, in Rome, the guy, his name was Maximiliano, if you could say that, but he'd say, just call me Max. Yeah. And he searched that city for bagels.
Yeah.
Couldn't find
No,
them.
not in Rome.
But he had lots of seeds and stuff because the Kenyans just eat.
You know, croissants.
Right. So, and I had a piece of dry bread, actually, and I cut my lip.
And that's it? So you don't eat a lot? You can't eat a lot?
No. Well, no, because I say I have that runner's syndrome, you know.
What?
Pit stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have to be very careful.
Yeah, yeah. And do you do any pit stops? Do you?
Oh, well, yes. That's what
yeah,
slows me down in my times. I could be doing better times if I didn't spend so much time in looking for a washroom where there isn't a lineup.
Really? And do you have a water jug or something attached to you, or?
No, I don't carry water. They have water stops.
And you grab some water as you go?
As I go.
A lot?
No, because there isn't time. I can't drink unless if I stop, then I can drink more. But I just sort of sip on it. No, I'm not one of these fanatics. Well, I shouldn't say fanatics. A lot of people need the extra fluid, power drinks and gels.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
and that's not you.
Well, it upsets my stomach, so that's why I very rarely. Sometimes I have those little gummy, chewy things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what happens when you're finished at the end of a marathon?
You head for the water tank.
Yes.
In Chicago, there was a beer parlor.
Yes. Where was the run in Chicago? I was just there last year. Where did it take place? Downtown?
Downtown, yeah. I can't tell you where along
That's not very hilly. That's relatively flat.
No, it was too flat.
Oh, too flat for you?
Yeah.
Was it near the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was a ramp up a bridge.
Yes.
But that was the only elevation we had.
Yeah. So after the race, you don't just collapse.
No, although lately I will say my blood pressure seems to drop. Now, normally I've had high blood pressure for years. It's a genetic thing.
Yeah.
And I'm on medication and have been for ages.
But
it's
having
just a water pill.
But having the blood pressure drop is not
I
a
know.
bad
Well,
thing.
this is why my doctor suggested not taking my blood pressure pill the night before. And then, it won't drop as far.
And the running helps it come down.
That's right.
And that's good.
Yeah.
It's not a
Oh yeah,
bad thing.
it's no.
And so then when and what do you eat?
After?
Yeah, within an hour or 2 hours?
They have usually they have bananas and muffins and all kinds of stuff at the end.
But when do you get to real food?
Whenever I can get out of the crowd. We usually go out for dinner.
Where's your mind? Where's your mind? As you're running. Where's your mind as you're running?
I think a lot about food.
Yes.
Yeah, because I love food and breakfast.
And sex.
Well, yeah. Mix the two together, and there you go. It's
there you go. That'll propel you. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And so, I don't. And I think about my form, because sometimes you tend to get a bit sloppy towards the end.
I noticed a girl running down on the street the other day, and I noticed she was doing a lot of that.
Well, you're wasting a lot of time when you do that.
I wanted to say it, but I thought it's not my place to tell her. Like she's.
And she was just running, not.
She wasn't in a race, but it's her. She was jogging.
Yeah.
She was seriously running for exercise.
No, it's very important, and keeping your shoulders back so you can expand your chest and get as much oxygen in there that.
And you try to run nice and straight and
line.
clean. Do you make a big
with your arms, waist high.
Do you make a big issue out of lifting your knees?
No, I don't actually think about them, but I don't shuffle.
Yeah.
If I was starting to shuffle, I would. But no, my knees, touch wood, I have always been good.
Are you concerned with what's happening on any side of you?
I am if it's tight, like the sun run here. I've stopped doing it, but it's
too crazy.
Dangerous.
It's too much going on.
I did get knocked over once, and luckily it was a tall man beside me, and so I.
Sort of.
The young kids, they aren't really racers, and they're just, doing switchbacks.
It's a little like riding a scooter in Taipei. We're going to take a little break. I want to talk about how you became who you are. We'll go back. We'll go way back. Our guest is B.J. McHugh. She's an amazing, delightful lady. Lives here on the North Shore. World record holder in marathons and half marathons. This gives us a chance for you to take a look at our website, davidberner.com, and a chance for the lovely people who support us here to say hello. We're so happy to have them helping out with Shaw Community Television Cable 4. Back in a minute. This program has been made possible in part by the following sponsors. The Trial Lawyers Association of BC. The Vancouver Courier newspaper. My new book about addictions, All the Way Home, Building Recovery That Works. Guest is B.J. McHugh. She has set world records for marathons and half marathons in her age group. And she's also the author, along with Bob Nixon, of My Road to Rome. Look it up, myroadtorome.com. The running times of B.J. McHugh. And your story is not at all as dull as you modestly think it might be. It's very interesting, in fact. You grew up in a rural Ontario, large family. Did you have a dime? Did you have 4 cents?
No, but I had a nickel for an ice cream cone.
Did you?
That's my one bad habit. I'm addicted to ice cream.
Yeah.
No, but we were all very happy. We made our own entertainment. We loved to skate. We made our own ice rink.
Yeah, really?
And then it would snow on it, and we'd start all over again.
Yeah.
But and my
what did your pop do? What was he? How did he pay for things?
Well, he was a farmer, and money wasn't a big issue then. You know, we always had lots to eat.
Yes.
I can remember bagging up big sacks of vegetables to send out out west when they had the droughts and the grasshoppers eating up their food. No, we didn't like. My mom was very practical. I never had my own coat till I was maybe 10 or 12.
Yes.
It was hand-me-downs.
Hand-me-downs, of course. Yeah.
And everybody was sort of in the same level.
Why did you skip 3 grades?
I had older sisters that taught me to read and write before I had memorized the whole first book about I am Chuck, I go to school. And I was very keen to learn.
Yes.
You know, and I don't know, I haven't actually read my whole book altogether.
Yeah.
I've read excerpts of it, but I don't know if it says in there that my determination to finish high school, it was difficult because the war was on.
Yes.
And my brothers had all joined up, and my dad didn't have any help. We had 2 farms.
Yep.
So I said I'll get up early in the morning and get the cows in and get them milked, and because I just was desperate to go to high school. So got through it.
Why were you desperate to go to high school? What did you see in that?
I love to learn, and from the time I was a little tot, I wanted to be a nurse.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was my lifetime ambition.
And did you become a nurse?
I did.
Yes.
I trained in Children's Hospital in Toronto.
Wow.
And then after that, I came to see the world, to Vancouver. I never got beyond Vancouver.
Yeah. And you got married here? I
got married. My husband was from Toronto too, but he was living out here, and he actually was a patient of mine. He had his appendix out, and
oh, really?
We had it bred and born into us. You never got emotionally involved with your patients.
Yes.
But because he was a skier, and I was too, and I hadn't, I was going to be out here for 3 months and then go back to Toronto. And then I decided to stay on just so I could ski the mountains, because Ontario skiing is, anthills.
Yeah.
So, so when he got out of the hospital, we went skiing, and then it just
went from there.
From there on, yeah.
And you had a wonderful marriage for a lot of years.
61 when he passed away.
61 years of marriage.
Right.
My goodness.
I know. He was a wonderful man.
You cared for him.
I cared for him at the end, and my training really came in handy. He had dementia, and it's much like dealing with children.
Yes.
So I don't think I could have done it if I hadn't had my nurse's training.
Really?
But I didn't resent it. He was such a great guy. He went to every race I ever did.
Yes.
He was always there to pick up the clothes or hand somebody a pair of gloves if their hands are cold. And he was a fixture. He and my dog, they never complained about it.
They were the steadies in your life,
right? That's right.
Yeah. And you seem to be amazingly managing since he's gone. I mean, you have this, BJ, you probably don't know this because it's who you are, but you have this unbelievable spark.
Really?
Yeah. No, you do. You have. Am I right, guys? You just have this wonderful life force in you. It's such a beautiful thing to be around.
Well, I think, when you get older, you have to be realistic. We weren't made to stay on this earth forever. And I know my husband was very unhappy because he couldn't do what he used to do. And, of course, his mind was gone.
Yeah.
And he's in a better place. I kept telling him that.
Yeah.
My final words were, you're going to a happier place, we hope.
Yeah.
And pump up your bicycle tires, and I'll be there. we belong to a senior cycling group in North Shore, and we did a lot of cycling.
Now, in addition to raising your kids and then grandkids and so on, did you continue nursing or continue any career?
I continued nursing not until the youngest. See, I had four. The youngest was just, started school.
Yes.
So I didn't go back. Well, I shouldn't say that. Actually, I used to do a bit of private duty at night, from midnight on.
Yeah.
When my husband was home, but I didn't actually do a lot of that. Actually, January and February, sort of boring months after all the parties.
Yeah.
So I used to do my nursing then. And then I worked in Edgemont Village in a doctor's office there as an office nurse. So it was close to home, and that's when I worked part-time there, but I was close enough.
Yes.
And my oldest daughter was over 12 at that point, so she could
serve. You've been there on the North Shore forever, for a long time. That's been your home.
66 is when we moved to the house we're in now, but prior to that, it was in the 50s.
Really?
We built on Queens Road, which was a little cow path then.
Yeah.
And now it's a main.
What did you love about it when you first got there?
I guess the outdoors. There were so many places. I'm very outdoorsy. I like hikes and we had this lovely creek beside us where you could, hike and the dogs swim in there. And I think that was what, because I very seldom come to Vancouver. You dragged me over this time.
Yeah, it was very good of you to swim over today.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Are you someone who sleeps 5 hours a night?
Roughly.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about, you're one of these people, I just know it, you're one of these people who just does 92 things.
Yeah, and, well, I have my little
which means
list.
you can't get too much sleep.
Well, I don't require a lot.
That's a fantastic
blessing.
Yeah.
It used to be very annoying when I was a student nurse. I'd be bounding out of bed, and my roommate was one of these people. You didn't speak to her till she'd had her breakfast.
Yes, of course.
And she couldn't understand why anybody would be up before we had to be.
And cheerful yet, on top of that, sunny.
I like mornings.
Yeah, you like mornings. See, that to many of us, that's like monstrous. The idea that someone likes morning.
No, I lie in bed and dream about, even when I'm training with the girls running, we're thinking, what will I have for breakfast today? It's a big one.
What's your next challenge, your next race, your next activity?
I guess Victoria, and I think I've more or less settled on a half marathon. I don't think I'll do the full.
Okay.
And then...
You'll forgive my ignorance, but as I know almost nothing about marathons, if you do a half marathon, does it mean you're running with the full marathon and you just stop halfway?
No, sometimes
it's a separate event.
It's a separate event.
Yes.
Sometimes it starts at the same time and goes so far.
Yes.
Like in Victoria, it doesn't start at the same time. That's right. But so you're back away ahead of the marathoners, which is good because then you can cheer them on.
Are there prizes for these things that you run in?
There used to be a lot. I remember one time winning a pair of jogging shoes, a jogging outfit, a bag, the whole thing. But they've cut back a lot.
Oh.
But usually, quite often I run or win jogging shoes.
Do you have sponsors?
I do. That's why I wear this shirt.
You're wearing ASICS shirt. ASICS shirt, yeah. And you wear the same running shoes?
I wore ASICS long before they sponsored me.
But now they sponsor you?
Yeah.
They give you goodies?
That's
which
is great, actually.
They give you some loot?
No.
Just goodies?
Just a few clothes. And the shoes. The shoes are the important thing.
Yeah. How quickly do you go through a pair of shoes?
Oh, well, usually after 6 months, depending on what I'm training for. Then I save them for the shorter runs and get into the new ones.
Yeah.
And I wore orthotics for years, and the last time I did, last year, when this was a very special event. It was a 3-generation marathon.
Yes.
In Hawaii.
And your grandmother ran also? No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe she did. I didn't know about it. Yeah. But anyhow, I'd taken my orthotics out, and I haven't put them back since.
Oh, isn't that funny?
I know. Well, long ago, if you ever had any injuries or aches or pains, they just said, oh, probably you need orthotics.
Which side of the world do you belong to, high or low arches?
I have low, and I pronate.
You see, that's why we get along so well, because I have high.
Oh, you're high.
We're a fit. Yeah. So you got a marathon coming up. What's the most exotic, fascinating place you've ever had a chance in which to run? Where have you really had a ball? Where have you really enjoyed?
Well, we have a ball at every one because we go as a group, and there's usually 12 or 14 of us.
Oh, really?
And, oh, yeah, that's why we go.
What do you do? And you're the spring chicken of the group? You have people who are 90 or something?
It.
Yeah.
Well, my son goes. He looks after me.
Oh, good. Good for him.
Oh, yeah, because he says, I always get lost if we're going out for dinner. They never let me lead the way.
Yeah.
No, I do.
They let you run and they take care of you.
That's right.
Okay.
But anyhow, I think the prettiest one and the toughest was Big Sur.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But that's serious. Yeah.
It is. That's
and beautiful.
Beautiful. You're right on the coast. There's an orchestra at the top of one of the steep hills. Have you ever been there?
I've been there many times. I love it.
You've been everywhere.
It's Henry Miller country. I'm a fan. BJ, we're out of time. Hey, thank you so much. Do you do motivational speaking? Do you give inspirational talks?
I've done quite a few, but I told Viv, never. I'm quitting.
Come on. We need you out there. We need you to inspire people.
This is what everybody says. I am inspiring, but I'm just doing what I like to do.
I know,
and I've decided I don't really like talking anymore.
Visit some of the seniors' homes and see some people.
Oh, well, when my husband was in...
Use a shot. Yeah.
No, I would do that.
Yeah. BJ, thanks so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Great stuff. Okay, B.J.MCHUGH is our guest. So, folks, the building is dark for the next several weeks, which we do every summer, so we're going to do some repeat shows. And next week, you'll see the conversation that we had a couple months ago with Dr. Brian Day, who is the guy from Canby Surgery, and he's always arguing in favor of allowing some private elements into our public health system. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon here on Shaw Community Television, Cable 4. Good night.